In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I like to meal prep and how I make it effective and efficient. So I know for a lot of people, meal prep can seem like this big daunting task. And if you don't have the right strategies and you don't have the right approach to it, it can be very daunting and it can be very time consuming. But I'm going to show you guys how I like to do it to where it doesn't take me too long, my meals taste good, they taste fresh, and I'm able to stay consistent with my diet and reach my physique goals. So it's currently Sunday and I'm doing 3 days worth of meal prep. So I don't like to prep for 5 to 7 days. I think most people who do that by the 5th or 6th day, you just end up not wanting to eat the food because it's been sitting in the fridge and it just loses its flavor. So what I like to do is I like to meal prep until my next rest day. So I know I'm going to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I'm going to take a rest day and I'll have the time again to meal prep once more. So I've got this pack of 93.7 ground beef, which I'm going to be making a very delicious recipe with this. And then I've got a pack of chicken thighs, a pack of chicken breast, and some rice. So this is going to be my staple meals. These are going to be like my 3 meals that I eat throughout the day. Now I make my breakfast fresh every morning because that's just what I've always done. I really like it and it's kind of part of my morning routine. And then I like to have dinner cooked fresh, or right now for this week, I'm actually having a protein ice cream made in the Ninja Creami for my 5th meal of the day. So it's 4:15 right now at the time of starting this video, and I'm starting with this ground beef concoction that we're going to make. So let's dive in. So all we're doing is cooking down this 93.7 ground beef, and then we're going to add an entire can of Rotel diced tomatoes. We're then gonna put a pack and a half of this taco mix seasoning right here. You gotta be careful with this. It's really good, but it's also really salty. So depending on how salty you like things, you may have to kind of play with this and figure out exactly how you like it. But I'm gonna do a pack and a half for this entire pack of beef. And then we're going to add in this classic ranch seasoning as well. So what I like to do is get the beef almost cooked before adding the tomatoes in, but obviously we're going to throw the seasoning in before the beef starts cooking. So for the ranch dressing, I pretty much just like to add it until all the beef is covered on the top with the ranch dressing, and I found that's pretty good consistency and flavor profile. But look guys, this isn't rocket science and your taste buds may like it a little different. You might like a little more ranch, you might like a little less ranch. You just gotta play with it and see. That's the beauty of meal prep and cooking and all of this, is that you get to make it how you like it. There's no one size fits all for any of this. And then to maximize time efficiency, while that ground beef is cooking before I add the tomatoes into here, I'm also gonna go ahead and boil some water and get started cooking my jasmine rice because it's super easy and super simple. All I did was add 4 cups of water to a pot. And once it gets boiling, I'm going to add 4 cups of jasmine rice to it, turn the heat all the way down and let it cook for 8 to 12 minutes. Okay, so 25 minutes later, the ground beef and the jasmine rice is complete. So now all we have left to cook is our chicken, which I'm gonna be doing breast and thighs, and I'm gonna be grilling those. So I'm gonna head down to the grill at our apartment complex and get started grilling. All right, so we got the grill behind me heating up. It's probably gonna take about 5 to 8 minutes to heat up. And if you are grilling, or really just cooking anything in general, you wanna make sure your grill, your stovetop, whatever it is, let it get hot before you put the meat on there, because it just cooks faster and cooks better when it's already hot. So I'm gonna let that heat up, and while we do that, I'm gonna break down the seasonings that I like to use for chicken and then explain my philosophy when it comes to dieting and nutrition in general. So these seasonings right here, Kinder's, are excellent for chicken. They're good for everything. I use them on ground beef sometimes too, but for chicken specifically, I love the flavor it gives them. So I'm gonna be splitting it between this cowboy butter Kinder's and the caramelized onion butter. Sorry, my face, you guys can see that. Boom. I'm going to be splitting the seasoning between these two. It's excellent, and splitting it up also just gives the chicken a little variety throughout the next couple of days, right? It's not all going to have the caramelized onion butter. It's not all going to have the cowboy butter. Very easy way to create a little variety. And that kind of ties into my philosophy with nutrition and meal prep and everything like that. So I like variety, I like taste, but I also like simplicity. And so what I like to do is basically, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'll meal prep for about 3 days at a time, sometimes 4 days, depending on what my week looks like. But what I'll do is I'll create a weekly meal plan for myself. And so on a week-to-week basis, I'm not having to think about what I'm eating. I know for a fact, okay, here's the 5 meals that I'm eating throughout the day. Here's the snack that I'm gonna have at the end of the day. That way I don't have to think about it, and I can really just lock in and get it done But on a week to week basis, I'm also changing those things up. So this week's meal plan won't be the same as next week's meal plan. And this way, I'm able to stay consistent long term because there's variety. And I think variety is a very important aspect of consistency for a lot of people with their diet. Because if you just eat the same meals every single day, obviously changing the seasonings and things like that can definitely help, but you've got to know how to swap out different protein sources and fat sources and carb sources and how to hit your calorie and macro goal in a multitude of different ways so you can stay consistent with it and really look forward to your meals. And so what I found for me, and as well as a lot of the clients in the Timeless Aesthetics program, is having that weekly meal plan set up where you know, okay, these are the meals I'm going to be eating, and maybe you leave a little bit of room, like an extra 200 or 300 calories to be flexible with on a daily basis for like a snack or something like that. I do that sometimes. Right now I'm not, but I do that sometimes. But by keeping it consistent on a weekly basis, you don't have to think about it as much. It's not like this thought throughout the day of like, okay, I have this much protein left and this much carbs. Like, you know what you're going to be eating, but you also know you're not going to be eating this for the rest of your life. You're literally eating it for one more week, and then you're going to tweak things around and change it however you like. So it makes it simple, but also it gives you variety, and you're able to stay consistent with it long term. And of course, there's people in our program who don't prep this way and who just track their macros every single day, and they have variety every single day. There's nothing wrong with that, and it works for them. I'm just sharing what works for me and a majority of the people in our program. All right, so the grill is hot. I'm going to go ahead and throw the chicken on there. Unfortunately, only one side of the grill is heating up right now. I don't know how to get this one to work, but I don't have that much chicken, so we should be able to fit it all on one side. And some people really like to marinate their food, so they'll like throw it into marinade and add some seasoning and let it soak overnight before they cook, which is totally cool. But I just got this chicken earlier and didn't have time for that. And most of the time I don't actually do that. I don't feel it's necessary because this Kinder's seasoning is just incredible by itself. All right, guys, 12 minutes total on the grill for the chicken breast and chicken thighs. I did 6 minutes on each side, and the chicken is done. If you don't have a grill, you don't have to do it on a grill. You can do it on a stovetop as well. The time is obviously going to be different, but you don't need a grill. But if you do have a grill, turn that thing all the way up, get it as hot as it can go. Go for about 6 or 7 minutes on each side for your chicken. As long as it's not super thick, it'll come out perfect. So it's now 5:35 and I'm completely done meal prepping. So an hour and 20 minutes to prep an entire 3 days worth of food. And if you were doing 5 days worth of food, it really wouldn't take that much more time, if any at all. You could do the exact same thing in a little more quantity in the same amount of time. So with that said, it doesn't have to take a ton of time. You just have to do things strategically and efficiently, and you have to plan ahead. As long as you're planning ahead and you're staying prepared and you understand how many meals you actually need to prepare for and how many meals you're going to eat at home, what breakfast you're going to make, and if you're going to be cooking dinner fresh with the family, you don't have to meal prep those meals. So there really is no excuse, guys. It doesn't take that much time. It does take a little bit of thought, it takes some planning, and it does take some time, but it's not this big, massive ordeal that everybody makes it out to be. So with all of that said, I've got the food prepared. I'm ready to dive into another week of this fat loss phase and documenting this journey for you guys. So if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. And until the next one, guys, keep pushing, keep persevering, and keep it positive.